Shalom, and welcome to a message for the Parsha for Parshat Vayikra. But really, this week's Shabbat is called Shabbat Zachor, as this week we're going to read a special reading. We take out two Torahs. In the first Torah, we read the normal schedule of the Parshiot, which is Parshat Vayikra, as I said. But in the second Torah, the second scroll we take out, we read just a very short Parsha, but perhaps the most meaningful Parsha in the Torah, which is Parshat Zachor. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Remember what Amalek did to you. Perhaps you will recognize the word Zachor, because we also use it for our common day Amalek. It's typically used as remembrance of the Holocaust, which was another manifestation, or perhaps one of the worst manifestations of this Amalek. And what the Torah is telling us, the commandment is to remember what Amalek did to us, to remember him, but to eradicate him. In other words, to remember it, to understand what Amalek is, but in the same time, to eradicate its memory, make it non-existent. What does that mean? What is Amalek? What did Amalek do? Well, literally what Amalek did was obviously the fact that he was the first one to attack us as a nation. Remember, we left Egypt, we became a nation. We became God's nation, a holy nation. We have not yet received the Torah, but we were still very special. And the whole entire world, believe it or not, even before internet, they all knew the wonderful miracles that took place. And the climax of these miracles, the splitting of the sea. The world trembled. Just the thought of the Jews made them tremble. We were the absolute untouchables. Amalek, you know what he did? He came from far away. He had no business starting up with the Jews. There was nothing for him to gain. We weren't threatening his territory. We weren't threatening his existence. We didn't even know he existed. But he had such hatred that he couldn't stand it. He had to do something about the fact that the Jews are in the limelight and the Jews are being held in such great regard and everybody fears them and trembles from just the thought of the Jews and the miracles that occurred for them, that he came to attack the Jews. He wasn't stupid. He knew very well that he will not succeed in beating the Jews. He knew that he's going to be defeated. And that was all his expectations. I'm imagining that he prepared all the body bags, more than the rations for the soldiers, knowing full well that that's what's going to happen. So why then did he do it? Because of the hatred. Because of that need to tell the world they're not the ultimate. They're not it. And with that, he set into motion anti-Semitism that unfortunately always rears its ugly head, sometimes more, sometimes even worse, but it's always there, until such time that Mashiach will come and eradicate all bad from the world. But applying it to our lives, what is it about Amalek that's in our lives? Because the Torah is speaking to each and every individual. The Torah doesn't expect us all to go to the gun shop and buy arms and look for an Amalek in the street. How do we know how to identify this Amalek? How do we know if we're not going to be killing an innocent person? And really, does that sound like a virtue in the Torah, to go out there and kill? What the Torah is telling us is that there is a little Amalek in each and every one of us. What is this Amalek? Well, if you take the word Amalek, it's 4 letters. Ayin, Lamed, Mem, Kuf. Ayin is 70, Lamed is 30. Mem is 40, so that's 140. Kuf is 100, that's 240. Take the word Safek, which means doubt. And you have the Samach is 60. The Pei is 80. How much is that? 140. And the Kuf at the end is 100, 240. So Amalek and Safek are the same gematria, the same numerical value. This is exactly what Amalek is. Amalek came to just cool down the excitement about the Jews. In fact, the metaphor that the sages give us, and Rashi quotes in the Torah, is that there was this terribly hot bath, public bath, and no one can step into the waters. Literally, the steam was just rising, bubbling hot. Came one wicked, crazy person and jumped right into the water. Of course, they ended up in a burn unit. But what did they do psychologically? They cooled it off. He cooled it off for everyone. Now, at least there was some human being who was in that water. And that's what Amalek did when it comes to the sovereignty of the Jews and the greatness of the Jews and the fame that we had. He cast some doubt. We have this in our lives. Sometimes, many times, good things happen to us. Things that we are so clear that it's Hashem. Hashem did this. Hashem did that. This miracle, that miracle. And it's amazing. And we're excited. We're all warmed up. We're all hyped up. But then a little time passes. And we get a little cooled off. And then we have some doubt. Maybe even sometimes to the extent of maybe it wasn't really God. Maybe it really wasn't such a special thing. Maybe it wasn't really such a great miracle. That's the Amalek. And that's what Hashem says to us. Remember this Amalek. Remember. You have to be able to identify it so you'll notice it as soon as it rears its ugly head. And eradicate it. Take that doubt away from you. Take that which cools you off from your faith, from your connection to Hashem. Of course you're a human being. We have our struggles. We have times when we have to really overcome things that bother us and try to pull us away from our connection and faith in Hashem. But certainly when it's clear and obvious, we just experience miracles. We're all excited and hot about it, all warmed up by Hashem's embrace. Don't allow yourself to be affected by that Amalek agent, by that cooling off agent, by the doubt. Shabbat Shalom.